In this lecture, we'll learn about the card component. The card component is a flexible content container that includes options for title, subtitle, header, footer, image, and various content, as well as contextual background colors and various layouts. The card component can contain a variety of different elements. However, to start off, we have the basic card container, which is a div tag with the class card. This will give the component a white background color and the border with border radius. The content of the card is placed in one or more div tags with the class card block. This will give the content some padding. Let's look at the different kinds of content that can be used inside the card block container. We can add a paragraph with the class card text. We can add a title with the class card title. We can add a subtitle with the class card subtitle. Let's see what it looks like now. We can add buttons with no need for any special class names. An example would be to create an anchor tag with the classes btn and btn primary and the text button. We can add a block quote by using the Blockquote tag with the class card Blockquote. Inside this element, we'll create a paragraph and paste in some lorem ipsum text. After it, we'll create a footer tag with the class Blockquote footer. Our example text for this will be author name in source title, and we will wrap the source title part in a side tag with the title attribute with the value being the same as the text content of the tag. We can add links by using the class card link. Let's duplicate this link 2 times. Let's have a look in the browser. Here we see the added button, Blockquote, and links. Now let's see what other kinds of content can be used in the card component, but outside of the card block container. We can create a list group by adding an unordered list with the classes list group and list group flush. Inside this, we'll create a list item with the class list group item and some text. We'll duplicate the list item twice. We can also add a card header and a card footer. We can create a card header by adding a heading element with the class card header and some text. A card footer can be created by adding a div tag with the class card footer and some text. Let's have another look in the browser. Now we can see the added list group, the card header and the card footer. We can add a nav component to our card header. You can learn more about how to structure and adjust the nav component in another lecture, so I'll just quickly code this so you can see what it looks like in the browser. Let's remove our header with navigation, footer, list group, links, block quote, and button, so we have a basic card component. Now we'll see how we can use an image as part of the card content. In the very top of the card container, we'll add an image tag with the source being an image from placeholder with the dimensions 400 times 200 pixels. The alt attribute with the value card image in the top, and the class card img top. Let's duplicate the code for the entire card component twice. In the second example, we will now move the image down to the very bottom of the card container and change the class to card img bottom and the alt attribute accordingly. In the third example, we'll use the image as an overlay. We change the class to card img and the alt attribute accordingly. Now we need to change the class card block to card img overlay. Let's see these three cards with images in the browser. Let's remove the last two card examples and remove the image from the first example. We'll now see how we can use color classes in different ways. First of all, we can invert the text color by adding the class card inverse to the card container. This is useful when using the contextual color classes at the same time. There's 5 different contextual color classes, so we'll duplicate the code block 4 times and add the following classes to one of the blocks each: card primary, card success, card info, card warning, and card danger. Let's see these examples in the browser. Instead of cards with solid background colors, we can also have transparent backgrounds with contextual border colors. To do this, we'll simply add outline dash in the middle of our current contextual color classes. We'll also delete our card inverse class again, so we will be able to see the text. Let's see this in the browser. Finally, we'll have a look at 3 different ways in which we can lay out groups of cards. We'll delete our current examples and paste in some example code. This is 3 card component with an image in the top, a card block with a card title, and some card text and a card footer in the bottom. Notice that the dimensions of the image is now 300 times 150 pixels. We'll first create a card group by wrapping all the cards in a div tag with the class card group. In the browser, we can see that the card group rendered the cards as a single attached element with equal width and height columns. When we resize the browser, the arrangement of the cards will change, but please notice that these layout options are not yet fully responsive. Maybe they will be in a later version of Bootstrap. If we don't want the cards attached to each other, we can create a card deck by using the class card deck in the wrapping div tag. In the browser, we'll now see the same behavior as before, but with added margins between the cards. Once again, this layout is not fully responsive. Finally, we can have the cards laid out as columns. This is achieved by using the class card columns on the wrapping div tag. Before we see this example in the browser, we'll add the class img fluid to the images and copy 2 of the cards, so we have a total of 5 cards for our layout. In the browser, we can now see a masonry-like layout where the cards are ordered from top to bottom and left to right. As for the other two layout options, this is also not fully responsive, so you should use any of these with caution. We have now learned how to create a card component and use all of the different options for content, colors, and layouts. Go on and continue with the coding exercises, which will help you learn the correct structure for this component. In the next lecture, we'll learn how to create and use the carousel component.